Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. I did. That was a lie. But now that you're here, let's talk about the meaning of life. Because why not? Because why not, right? Um, I did say that philosophy was going to be a huge topic on this channel, and here we are, talking some philosophy. Yeah. So the meaning of life. What is the meaning of life? Hey, you tell me. That's actually a double entendre, which we'll get to later on in the video, I promise. Right. So the first thing that comes to mind is I think, therefore I am. These are just my thoughts first and foremost. So if you want to dispute them, write in the comment section. If you believe I'm right, write in the comment section. If you just want to write in the comment section, write in the comment section. And yeah, let's just talk. Yeah. The first thing that comes to mind is I think, therefore I am, and why is this important, right? Because in essence it means that you exist, right? Descartes tried to take away everything from the table and see what he could put back on it, see what he could say with absolute certainty. The only thing he could say was that he existed with absolute certainty. However, there was another philosopher, I believe it's William Hume, correct me if I'm wrong, but there was another philosopher that said that that this is entirely not true. Like, you can't even say that you exist because you are just a collection of sense data, and that doesn't mean that you exist. It just means that sense data exists. Yeah, which is another proposition that will be taken. It's just that you don't exist. Why does this matter? Because, say for example, if you exist and the people around you exist, or much rather, let's say that you exist and the people around you don't exist, then that means that there must be something inherently significant about your existence. It must entail some value, right? Because if that was the case, then there would be no need in a difference in existence. Correct? Correct. But that's just to entail why we're going to take these propositions as, basis points for the argument. Right. So the first proposition I wanted to take is that you exist and the people around you exist. Right? Why would this be important? Well, it's very interesting that I say this, right? Because it was Descartes that said that you exist, and it was the other philosophers that said that you don't exist, and he said so through use of sense data. And we're actually going to use sense data to try come to the conclusion of the meaning of life. I want you to think about this for a second, right? Why is it that you exist? Oh, no, pause. Why is it that we all experience life differently? And by that, I don't mean that, we have a different story to tell, yada yada. Which, I mean, in essence, that is what I'm talking about. That is what it breaks down to. But I mean, why is it that we sense things differently? We see things differently. We smell things differently. Even the way we feel things are completely different. Why is that? There must be something valuable in that experience, right? So I come to the conclusion that if our existence is important because we exist, right? And us existing necessitates the value of our existence. If us existing is important, then why is it our experience is different? And what this tells me is that more than likely, the meaning in this scenario where we exist and the people around us exist, the meaning would be to understand each other, because everybody has a different experience. Yet we all of our experiences are valuable. And if all of our experiences are valuable, then us having a different experience is also important, because it means that it allows us to build a truer picture of reality by understanding each other. So if I was to understand you completely, then it would allow for my perception of reality to be more true. And if I was to understand everybody, then I would have the most truest perception of reality, because I would understand what you're seeing, what you're sensing, what you're feeling, and I'd be able to understand what I'm seeing, sensing, and feeling, and it would allow me to build a truer picture, a more complete picture. It's like putting together the pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, and yeah, you see what you get once you've completed it. Okay, so what's another proposition we're gonna take? It was that. I hope I explained that coherently. If I didn't, please tell me in the comment section. Yeah. Another proposition I was gonna take is that I exist and the people around me don't. In such a scenario, it would mean that my existence in it carries some significant value, and therefore more than likely my purpose has already been defined before I even set out on life. And in such a situation, it would just be a matter of finding out what that purpose would be. Would it be divinely inspired? Like maybe, in fact, this is another topic, another conversation for another day. But maybe there's like a divine creature that gave me this purpose, yada yada yada, or maybe there isn't, and I just exist, and I have a purpose that I don't know, and maybe I just have to figure it out. And yeah, in such a scenario, then yeah, my the meaning of my life would already be predefined, and that'd be cool. Right? I mean, not really. This actually brings up a lot more bigger questions of free will and stuff like that, which yeah, we can talk about another day. Okay, let's say now let's say that I don't exist and the people around me do. In such a situation, then it would mean that I would be able to define my own meaning to life, because more than likely the people around me have a significant, their existence has value. I hate to be like, oh, my existence doesn't have value, but inherently it would mean that their existence has a value, and their value therefore defines their purpose, right? Much rather, their purpose is predetermined, and in such a situation, my purpose isn't necessarily predetermined. Or you could argue that my purpose is to entail a significant experience for those that do exist. Or in such a, yeah, you could argue that, or you could also argue that your purpose is that which you define yourself, because there wouldn't be a set purpose for you. And then the last one I want to take into consideration is that what's it called? That I don't exist and the people around me don't exist. This is, I believe, to be the most interesting one, because like you'd think, oh, isn't it just the opposite of we I exist and the people around me exist? That's what you'd think. So can you just flip it and say, what's it called? Is to understand each other again. You could argue that, but you could also argue that because I want to make an interesting analogy here. No, not analogy. Comparison. In computer science, there's this thing called true and not true. I think it's the best way to think of this thought experiment. I think it's the best way to think about what I'm trying to argue here. True and not true. In a coding sense, they're Boolean values. It's like, think of true as 1 and not true as 0. Yeah, and they both serve inherent purposes. You could say, is one not just the opposite of the other? And in essence, yes, but they're also two very different things. So while you could think that not existing is the same thing as existing, if everybody has the same value, you could think that, but at the same time, more than likely, they're different things, which means that not all of us not existing would also mean a different meaning. Right, and what would this meaning entail? That's an interesting question. More than likely, this is actually quite difficult. In such a scenario, more than likely, it would mean that there would be two purposes. We as humans collectively define our purpose, as in as one singular organism, like a hive mind type thing, and at the same time we also define our individual purposes. So you tell me, what is your meaning to life? So now it begs a bigger question: do we exist? That's a great question. I'll see you lot on the next episode. Coming next week. No, I say next week, but honestly, I'll upload whenever I feel like it. But take care of yourselves and have fun.